You know, one of the most popular pages we have on Clark.com is our best high yield online savings account list. And I want you to not get ripped off by your bank. Capital One was recently accused of cheating customers out of interest rates. And it turns out that over and over again, we're getting cheated on savings and interest rates from our bank, our brokerage, even potentially at a credit union. I'm going to tell you what you need to know. So, Capital One thing is such an important example for you because Capital One had very heavily promoted an account called the 360 savings account. And many of our listeners and viewers opened 360 savings accounts that were paying great rates of interest. Well, Capital One did something that was really dirty dealing to their customers. They came up with a second 360 account called the 360 Performance Savings Account, keeping the name almost identical. And people in the 360 savings account that had been earning great interest rates, and there were billions of dollars in them, suddenly were making really puny, terrible rates of interest. Only people who moved, and you had to do it yourself, and allegedly Capital One employees were prohibited from telling you that the account now had two names with two entirely different interest rates. The people who went into the new one or moved their money into the new one were suddenly making the kind of interest rates we talk about, and everybody else was getting terrible interest. So the feds have gone after Capital One for this. And let me tell you the difference. So people were making 0.40 in the 360 savings account, 4.25% in the 360 Performance Savings Account. Now, the rates could change any time, but that was pretty much the gap. But that's not even terrible compared to what goes on at the giant monster mega banks that pay you on your savings 1/100th of 1%. They're not charging you that on the credit card you have with the giant monster mega bank. They're not charging you that on the vehicle loan. No. They're taking advantage of people's inertia. You work to save money, and then you want that money working for you. But if you're not paying attention, the bank or the brokerage is going to take advantage of you. And the reality is, most of us never actually look to see what interest we're earning in the brokerage account or in the money market account or in the credit union account or bank account. And what you don't know in this case will hurt you. You know, my whole thing, live on less than what you make, which I'm going to talk about later in this podcast and YouTube show. And then you have that money and you worked hard to live on less than what you make. You want that money to work for you, not for some giant bank or some brokerage that's taking advantage. Now, here's the weird thing. Generally not true with the giant monster mega banks, but elsewhere, there will be alternatives, options that'll get you a much higher rate with discount brokers. The default might be a crummy rate of interest, but just with a simple transaction that will take you maybe 2 to 3 minutes to do, you can move that money painlessly to earning the highest in the markets, somewhere close to 4.5% to 5%, instead of earning somewhere below 0.5%. It's up to you and me to not allow these games. Now, there's a simple way that you fix this, and that is requiring disclosure. Just imagine if in your monthly statement it said in bold, you are earning 0.01, no, 001, you're earning 1/100th of 1%, however you'd write that out. Would people just let that money sit there? It's the lack of disclosure and the inertia in our lives that's getting us ripped off. So pay attention. Go look at our guide of the best rates. Move that money to get your money earning something.